feel like completely deaf after that. These are new headphones that I got, and like they're absolute. Like every time it went to a new beat on the tune there, it just like pounded through my skull. Like, oh
No.
damn, sitting there like, ah no. Anyway, we made it. I made it through the intro tune, so here we are. Welcome
Yo.
back. And yeah, I don't have my aviators on right now. It's definitely not because I've misplaced them and I can't quite remember where I put them. I didn't have time to get it before they started this, but no, it's fine. You get to see my actual face for a change, so there we go. Sorry for everyone in advance who gets attached to them. But hey, we've got a bunch of super chats left over from the other night, and seems like the appropriate time to do it, as we always do. So, what do you say? Should we get fired in?
I think we should get into it, yeah.
Okay. So the first one we've got is from Bogdan Anechescu. Says, "Did you guys know that Lambert from Alien is trans, born male and transitioned to female? You see this in Aliens when Ripley talks to the company, and you can read the Nostromo crew files." I didn't know that specifically about Lambert, but I did know that there was a section on the personnel file which basically says like, I don't know, something like biological sex and then current sex or something, so implying that, you know, changing gender is quite a common thing by that point. Pretty forward thinking, I suppose, and I imagine with advances in medical science and stuff, you're talking like, what, 200 years in the future or something like that?
Yeah, because they got fully functioning androids that can trick everybody pretty much at that point, right?
Yeah, I would imagine like you could wake up each day and just decide like, oh, what gender am I going to be today, and it'll just like flick a switch and away you go. Just change you.
Sweet!
Yeah. So yeah, it makes sense. Blue Collar Loser says, also, Dark Arrow had his first video hit 30,000 videos, 30,000 views, with him tearing apart Indiana Jones 5. At least Disney is helping YouTubers out, lol. Thanks for helping his channel. Yeah, no, man, it was a pleasure to have him on a couple of weeks back for Open Bar, and yeah, we managed to get him over 1,000 subs so that he could get monetized, and now I think he's at like 2,500, so his channel is doing great, growing quite rapidly, so it's really nice to see because... Yeah, man, I've seen his work. He puts a lot of thought and effort into his videos, and it's just nice to see people like that get the recognition that they deserve. Like, because so many people don't get the opportunity. So nice to be able to help out.
That's going to annoy the fuck out of Disney, right? Like, they put all this money into these projects, and then other people put, you know, a bedroom's worth of efforts and money at least into this sort of production, when they can get way more views. It's like, what?
Yeah. Yeah, the only people that have made money out of Indiana Jones 5 has been like the YouTube commentary community. It's great.
Imagine they start like paying people to make those videos so that they can get money off that as well.
I know. Well, I mean, honestly, like we're quite lucky in that they don't seem to worry too much about copyright, or they don't enforce it too much. But I suppose they could, in theory, and make money that way. You know. Timothy Finch says, I get more enjoyment watching things made by people I hate fail than I do watching a good product at this point. You get weeks of free entertainment. I mean, yeah, like, you know, like we say it, you know, when something really bad comes out, it's always fun to watch the reactions online. It's great. It becomes like a little a sort of media cycle, I suppose, even within YouTube.
It's I think it's because you get like a double whammy of it can be funny on its own, but then it also makes you feel better because you're like, I'm not crazy for thinking this thing is horrible.
Yeah, very much. Ethan Rackman says, Mueller should have. Should have Dawn been one of the potentials? I think could have helped the potential story, which I view as a weak storyline. Thoughts?
This one about Buffy. Yeah. The Potentials is a weak storyline. It's not too great. That's probably the lower parts of the last season. Like the Spike and Buffy stuff is way better. But I actually kind of prefer that Buffy's sister doesn't turn out to be a potential. It seems just so fucking coincidental. And then I enjoy the her and Xander have a whole like thing of just because you're not, you know, cosmically important doesn't mean you can't make a difference. I feel like there's some good character stuff that comes out of that. I think we need to fix the potential stuff, not make Dawn the potential to fix it, is what I'm trying to say.
Mars Death says, let's go for another open bar. Also, hi, Mueller.
Hello.
Hi. For the Emperor says, for Critical Doggo. Thank you, the Critical Doggo appreciates your donation. Joseph Mirazi says, my friend Simi is joining the Navy. Could you wish him good luck and tell him not to drown? Well, good luck, Simi, and yeah, try not to drown, man. Well done. Mr. Wise Guy says, Mueller, I beg you, please do the FNAF WWE Fat movies. You promised when it comes time. I will be marking my calendar. What's FNAF?
So that's Five Nights at Freddy's and
Oh,
Willy's
yeah.
Wonderland. Yeah, yeah.
Right.
We want to do it, so we'll do it.
I will. I still haven't got around to reviewing Willy's Wonderland, and it's I love it. It's great. I'll do that come Halloween.
There you go.
Mate Havlik says, has either of you watched For All Mankind on Apple TV? A very interesting story about an alternative space race. Really intelligently written, as actually surprisingly many Apple TV shows are. I don't have Apple TV, so I'm not really, not familiar.
I've not seen that, no.
Sorry, man. DB says, do you all remember Street Hawk? Love 80s TV. Street Hawk? I don't think so, no.
No.
Normally I'm quite well up on my 80s TV shows. Retro92 says, hell yeah, first super chat on first live stream. Love you guys. Thanks, Drinker, for being awesome and algorithming me into finding Mauler. Aw, thank you. I'm like gateway drug now. Mauler says thank you too. Jay's Salty Taint says, Indiana Jones and the Temple of Boobs, starring Brie Larson, Elizabeth Olsen, and Scarlett Johansson. Why is Haley Atwell not amongst them?
Yeah, what the fuck?
Yeah, if you're going to talk about boobs, I mean, come on. P.S. Muller, been loving your old TLJ vids. Amazing stuff.
Glad to hear
it. David Kelly says, thought Mission Impossible 7 was great. The fight scene in the alley with the super close-up of Plo, cannot say her surname. You know which the one I'm talking about.
Paris. Something like that.
Clementif, yeah. Her midriff was pure cinema gold. God bless you, Plo. She's got pretty toned abs, like, I'll say that about her. It feels like a bad move in fighting terms to expose your stomach to your opponent.
Yeah, he just fucking wrecked her.
I'm pretty sure that's a really vulnerable spot, and like, yeah, a few good punches there is going to do a lot of damage, which is what he does, you know. But yeah, it was nice to look at. Viviana Ray says, so do you think that Indiana Jones failed because audiences expected the same treatment that the last Bond entry and wanted no part of it? I think it was a combination of a lot of factors, really, isn't it? You know, just going into it, the atmosphere around the whole movie just seemed to be quite negative before the thing had even come out.
Yeah.
I think, you know, the fact that it's Lucasfilm, the fact that it's Disney, they are fairly damaged brands now, to the point where I think even normies know the kind of stuff that they're producing, and they don't like it. Probably Helena didn't help. The fact that she was quite prominent in the trailers, people were not liking that, particularly when they've seen what's happened to Star Wars and various other things.
There is like a fundamental aspect, because if you say, I'll give you an example, like with my dad, when I was like, oh, there's a new movie with Anthony Hopkins is really good, he'd be like, oh yeah, cool, you know, what's it called, that sort of thing. But if I say, have you seen the new Indiana Jones, isn't a reaction of, oh, you know, how good is it? He's more like, how is there a new Indiana Jones?
Yeah.
And it's like, what do you mean? It's like, how the hell, Harrison Ford's a million years old, how is that even possible? Like,
Yeah, I mean, I was coming to that as well. I think that's like another massive problem that you just can't get around now. Like, it was already becoming a problem with Crystal Skull, but you know, you could probably just about get away with it because he was still pretty spry for an older guy. But now it's just like, no, we don't want this. So all those things added together, it was just almost guaranteed to fail, really.
Yeah.
Russian Bot says the little platoon is technically a VTuber. Changed my mind. I mean, okay.
Yeah.
Thunderstrike says, I went to Disney World in the 90s as a kid, and the Indiana stunt show was the highlight. I even got my very own hat and whip. Kathleen Kennedy will burn for eternity for what she did to this character. The Indiana Jones stunt show is really good. I remember seeing it myself, and it's they put on a really good show, and the crowd interaction is good fun. It's good stuff. I like it. It's sad to see what's happening to all these characters. Caleb Hahn says the hype for Muller's next video is unironically greater than the hype for the next Avengers movie. I think that's straight up true as well.
I mean, well, if it's not even that great for me to say that, because nobody wants to see the next Avengers. It's like, I guess it's good that, you want to see my video more. Yeah, it's a plus. But yes, it's coming.
Kaiser the Fighter says, what do you think of Nimona? It's a good movie. I'll take your word for it. I don't know. I haven't seen it. Dragon Paul Z says, I've been watching TCW to prep for the Ahsoka show. So what's TCW? The Clone Wars, yeah. It's awful, and Ahsoka's a terrible character. It's funny how Disney wants to avoid mentioning all the violence Bo-Katan's terrorist helped cause that led to the fall of Mandalore.
It's
Yeah,
nuts, dude. We've looked at the comments on some of our like Mandalorian coverage, and people will be writing paragraphs about all this history that Bo-Katan's done. We're just like, this isn't in the show at all. Like, nobody mentions any of this. Nor does Bo-Katan. Like, there's all this history you could take advantage of, and they don't because they know probably as little about her as me and you do from not having watched Clone Wars. Fucking crazy.
yeah. Vimarain says, "Hello, drinker. Aside from movies, any chance you'd play some games with Az, like Conan Exiles, Starship Troopers, Extermination, or your own Cyberpunk to see stories and characters there?" Yeah, for sure. I mean, I've been streaming a little bit of Final Fantasy 16 on and off, and yeah, I'm definitely up for playing stuff online with Az. That'd be good fun.
How is Final Fantasy 16?
Really good so far. Must admit, I'm liking it. It's it's weird because like there's big open world elements to it, and the general sort of layout and stuff feels a bit like Elden Ring, except it doesn't make me want to kill myself after 5 minutes. So
Oh.
it's yeah, it's a lot easier obviously than Elden Ring. Yeah, fun little game. Genmai Cha says, Little Platoon, who would you rather? Tom Cruise versus Harrison Ford. I would go with Cruise because he's kind of nuts, so he would be very entertaining. I don't know. Platoon's not here. We'd have to answer for him. Who would we rather hang with, I guess? I'd go for Cruise.
Probably could be Tom Cruise, yeah.
We could do stunts together. It would be great.
I happily watch him do stunts, yes.
Evalio Grebanov says, I would pay 1 month Disney Plus fee to remove ND5 from the servers. Give it time, it'll probably happen. Theo, the Norwegian, says, some of my friends liked the new indie movie. Sigh. Well then, sir, the solution is clear. Get new friends. Metal Demon gave us $10. Thank you. Jen My Cha also says, oh yeah, another one for Little Platoon. I don't know why it's always Platoon that gets these questions, but anyway, Henry Cavill or Chris Hemsworth? I would go with Cavill because of the chest hair. Who would we choose?
To hang out with?
Yeah, I mean, I think in Platoon's case they were suggesting something else, but let's just go with hanging out for our sake.
That was actually tough because I think Chris Hemsworth seems awesome to hang out with. He seems like he'd be super fun. But obviously, Henry Cavill's not only looking like he'd probably be really fun. I'd love to ask him loads about the industry, obviously.
Yeah.
So that's kind of a toss-up for me.
I think I'd like to have a nice, intense game of Warhammer with Henry Cavill.
Yeah.
just talk about 40k.
Oh, yeah, you know, that would probably cinch it. I'd be like, let's play some video games.
Yeah.
Talking about his favorites.
Trucker Mark says, hello, Master, aka Critical Drinker. I loved your interview with Russell Brand. Thank you very much. And yeah, that was a lot of fun. I enjoyed that one.
How did people find that, by the way? Because it's partially on YouTube, right? But the full thing is somewhere else?
Yeah, the rest of it's on Rumble.
See.
But then I think you can get it for free. It's not like you have to subscribe to it or anything. You just have to go to Rumble to watch the rest. But yeah, it was good fun. He's high energy, so you kind of have to match that. Otherwise, you'll just not get a word in edgeways. But it's okay. Orders Militant says, favorite POTC quote. Mine will always be, "You best start believing ghost stories, Miss Turner. You're in one." So Pirates of the Caribbean quotes. It's got to be
probably when anything for Bill Nye is fucking Davy Jones. I love his delivery.
I think it's the one from Jack Sparrow where it's like, you are without doubt the worst pirate I've ever heard of. Well, you have heard of me.
Yeah.
It's great. Andrew Lindner says, ahoy, drinker. I've recently gotten into the Resident Evil games. Good man. Which Resident Evil game would you like them to remake next? And do you prefer them in the third person? I do quite like them in the third person, actually. Yeah, like that over-the-shoulder style. That'd be fine. I would genuinely love to get a remake of the first game in, the RE engine, over the shoulder 3D. I think that'd be a lot of fun.
I'm fine with them remaking 5 because I'm actually on board with remaking things that kind of lack, punch. Because you didn't need to remake 4, but they did. I'm very happy they did. But 5, 5 could use a tune-up, so it'd be pretty neat to get a remake of it.
If they could do what they did with 2 remake wise, like in terms of quality and stuff, that would be pretty cool. Because like you say, 5 is it takes the same basic formula as 4, just kind of jacks it up, but it's it is lacking a bit story wise, and the inclusion of Shiva never felt that well integrated to it. Because as far as I understand, she was a bit of a late addition to the whole game.
And yeah, like the atmosphere is not too fantastic in it.
Yeah, I just think it's going to be, for political reasons, it's going to be a tough one to get away with now. I don't know how they'll get around, because it was a bit controversial even at the time, the fact that it was set in Africa and stuff.
Yeah,
so.
The way they get around it is they just make the people you murder put a bunch of white people in there as well, so that they don't have to deal with people being like, "What the hell?"
Yeah. Cisco Castillo says, "Hail Drinker, Mauler, and guests. I had a damn good movie night the other day when they played Predator 1 and 2 back to back, and the always fun, in my opinion, Broken Arrow. Do you agree? Thoughts?" I agree wholeheartedly, sir.
There you go.
I would love to watch Predator 1 and 2 at the cinema, actually. That would be a nice experience. And
that would be cool.
For all the fact that it's cheesy as fuck and the plot makes not a lick of sense, I've got a real soft spot for Broken Arrow. I think it's really good fun, and John Travolta is just having the time of his life in that movie. Yeah, I like it. Castle Blacksmith says, question for the panel. What dirt do you think KK has that is allowing her to keep her job? I can think of no other explanation for her keeping her job. Yeah, good question. I think
isn't it currently a theory that no one wants the job?
Possibly, yeah. I mean, we did theorize this the other night on Open Bar, where it's like, if you were brought in to try and fix Lucasfilm, what could you possibly do? It's a pretty much an unwinnable position. So yeah, it's not it would be a thankless job, I suppose, coming in. I think people have suggested that an interim manager would be a good thing. You know, basically someone who comes in as a hatchet man, fires like, 50% of the company to, one, save money and get rid of all the shit people that have ruined all these properties, and then they leave, and then someone else comes in as a permanent manager, because when you've done something like that, you're not going to have any corporate goodwill towards you, and so you'd have to pretty much leave. So maybe that, but yeah, again, who would want that job? Nick Flagg says, the new Transformers pissed me off. I miss Michael Bay. Rise of the Beasts was only better than The Last Night. Anyway, guys, slice and dice. I will totally take your word for that, because I stopped giving a fuck about the Transformers movies after the first one, I think.
Mm-hmm.
They're just, yeah, I don't really know what to get out of them. Robot punches robot over and over. Jack Skinner says, evening drinker, ever read the Flashman novels by George MacDonald Fraser? I think they'd be up your street. They were rumours of a film, but they'd never get made now. Yeah, Flashman is was he like an 18th century hero or something, and just an absolute Chad for his day. Yeah, I haven't read them myself. I know he's quite an iconic character though. Again, yeah, I don't think he would probably get made today, because I'm sure he's a drinker and a womanizer and stuff. Ray Kennedy says, all these tiresome movies for modern audiences has me in the mood for my childhood films like the 1967 film Inner Space, and that can't be 1967, I think you mean 87, and the 1996 film Short Circuit. I think your keypad's not working, but yeah, because Short Circuit I'm sure is from the 80s as well.
Yeah,
but
Short Circuit's not the 60s.
Yeah, and Inner Space is definitely the 80s. But yeah, Inner Space is a really good film, actually. I'd meant to do a little extra shots review on that, because I did catch it just randomly playing and immediately got sucked into it. And it's like, oh god, this movie's so fucking fun. And I love the 80s aesthetic of the technology, where Dennis Quaid's in the pod and it's just really old-fashioned, computers and everything around him. There's lots of blinking lights and shit. It just looks great. It looks so just homemade. Love it. Yeah, miss films like that. Feeling Dangerous says, Indy 5 spending $300 million to get beat by two movies made for less than $20 million. Kathleen Kennedy's legacy. What a legacy it is too, yeah. Blockwriters says, this Ahsoka series will do much better than Andor, Girl Power not. It isn't for the general Star Wars fans, not even the legacy fans, and Rebels is male-led, by the way. Ezra is the focal point. Yeah, I mean, I never really watched Rebels, so I'll take your word for it. But yeah, I honestly
that it would do better than Andor, because there's a fan base built in for Ahsoka, at least as far as I'm aware, anyway. But you better be careful, because he might turn everybody on her eventually if he keeps making her so gosh darn awesome and good and involved in every single event in the fucking universe.
Well, isn't it from the trailers, 95% of the cast are female?
I think so. Yeah.
Cool. Yeah. Bang on trend then. Okay. Yeah, I'm sure it'll be great. Slip de Garçon says, Hail Drinker, my first super chat. Thanks, man. Repeating what someone else said last time, consider getting Johnny Law on Open Bar. I think he'd fit right in. All right, we'll keep him in mind. Lee Fletcher says, random question. Has anyone seen Chopper, the 2000 crime drama starring Eric Banner playing an infamous Australian criminal, Mark Chopper Reed? And what were your thoughts? Have you seen Chopper at all?
I know the front cover of that like DVD, but I've never seen it. Pretty sure he's on like is he like on a motorbike? Well, is he on a chopper? I think.
Most probably, yeah.
Let's have a look because I've always thought of watching it. Is that Eric? That's Eric Banner, is it? That's kind of neat. Wonder if he transformed for the role a little bit. I guess. 2000 movie, that is.
God, that's a long time now. Kathleen Kennedy's purse says, Doomcock says there's a rumour that KK was siphoning money from other projects to the Acolyte show. Thoughts from the panel on what's going on there? I mean, it's a rumour, isn't it? I don't think we can really confirm or deny it. I wouldn't be entirely surprised if money was getting shifted from other projects to try and keep that thing alive. That is the weirdest show. It's something that we've learned almost nothing about. No trailers or anything. Like, what the hell even is it? It's like this weird project that's just shrouded in mystery, but it's not even that far off, is it?
Which one? Which one? Which one about? Sorry.
The Acolyte.
Oh yeah. I think I saw some news about it yesterday. That I think I was with Friggy, and he was like, "Is it still coming out?" And I was like, "I guess so." I don't know
let's see. So it's scheduled for 2024. But I mean, yeah, like we're already into the second half of this year, so you'd think there would be information starting to come out about it now. But yeah, there's just been really nothing. It's a weird one. And yeah, there is rumors that like Kathleen Kennedy's basically since the failure of Indy 5, they've been like keeping a bit more of a close eye on Lucasfilm's spending and so on, starting to audit them, and I think it's come to light that the rumor anyway says that she's been siphoning money from other projects to keep the Acolyte funded because they've gone over budget, and she really, really wants this thing to get made because, you know, it kind of aligns with everything that she believes in. Like I say, it's just a rumor, so I've got no way to confirm it or deny it. I wouldn't be entirely surprised if it's been happening, though. They also say, by the way, the balls of Luke, Han, Willow, and Indiana are contained within here, and I will never give them back. Mwahaha. Okay. Snowclam says, the other major problem with Star Wars is that they can't write competent, capable antagonists. The EU had Thrawn, Paleon, the Vong, etc., and many were normal people. Yeah, I agree with that.
You're in luck. I got Ahsoka is gonna be bringing back Mr. Thrawn. Get excited.
I'm sure. Yeah, I'm sure they'll really do him justice. But yeah, probably Andor was like the best at like actually making the Empire seem like a credible threat. You know, they actually seemed quite good at what they did, and they weren't just morons who fell for obvious tricks.
I think the character was called Partagaz, just this high-ranking Empire official who's trying to get his job done, and he seems pretty ruthless and effective. Played by the guy who was in Game of Thrones. Just like, yeah, that I enjoy this. This is better than most things you've done for a long time. Just having him like make decisions that make sense. That's all I'm looking for.
I mean, compare that with the First Order from TLJ, who are literal children. It's mind-boggling. It really is.
Yeah.
T1S says, if Disney wanted any sort of shot at repairing the MCU's image, they'd have to give us a solo movie for the Dawn. Justice for the Dawn. Don't Stop Believing. Or Dawn Stop Believing.
They won't do it, though. They're too cowardly. They just won't do it.
Yeah. He's too beautiful for that. Ministry of Wrong Things says, considering Access Media normally goes after anyone threatening their narratives, how will they address Tom C? They can't attack him. He's one of them and was already credited with saving their ass. Yeah, I mean, they can't really go after him. He's kind of Hollywood royalty at this point, isn't he? Like, he's too big to be cancelled. to the world says, "There's one Lucasfilm property left that KK hasn't touched: American Graffiti. Tell me with a straight face she wouldn't love to make a sequel to that about how racist and sexist the US was in the 1960s." That's true. Tom Blunt says, "Why can't I swear in super chats? I'm trying to call Lauren Smith hish-rich names, but it won't let me." It's alright, we'll just imagine some for you. And yeah, that's YouTube's lovely profanity filter on. Henrik Larsson says, "As a huge creature horror fan, Dog Soldiers, Deep Rising, The Descent, why did the genre pretty much die out? Mauler, Dark Souls 2 is a great game."
Ugh.
Yeah, why did creature horror movies die out? Why?
I guess the answer to any of those kinds of questions is just the audience weren't coming to see it anymore.
Yeah.
Well, I like them, especially the good ones.
Garrett Hayden says, "Mauler, Drinker, Chris, and everyone, thank you for inspiring me to write better. I hold your words in high regard and respect you as my teachers, especially you, Mauler. I hope to create something wonderful thanks to you guys." Thank you.
Look forward to maybe seeing it someday. Keep at it.
The Thought Slayer says, "I hope to see a rise of independent films and new upcoming talented actors and writers." As do I. I think that the corporatization of Hollywood and the insane budgets just stifles, well, artists, and it stifles, like, movie stars from growing organically. They're just not allowed to at the moment, and that's why we don't have movie stars right now. But
yeah,
maybe if we get past this current trend, we can start to do that again. This is Kyle says, "Why don't they just hire actors and writers that aren't in a union?" Probably because they would be amateurs then. Because really, I think in Hollywood, anyone who's anyone has to be in a union, and if they're not, then it probably means they're not very good.
I assume that's how it works, because it seems like it's everyone whenever these things happen.
I think that's possibly it, and I don't know if whoever they could potentially hire would have a mind to, like, well, how's this going to impact me in future? Like, if I get a reputation as a scab who worked during a strike, like, basically when the strike's over, nobody is going to touch me after that. Absolutely, says Drinker. "Did you hear that Boiling Point is getting a sequel series?" Yes, I was talking with, actually, I was on Lancy's channel as a guest, and Jason Fleming was there, and I was talking to him a little bit about Boiling Point and how they made it and stuff, and yeah, he was saying that production on the TV show is well underway, which is quite cool.
Stuff. Boiling Point is brilliant.
Yep. Garrett Hayden says, "What are the marks of true professionalism?" I think for me, giving your best even in a shit situation. I think for example, in terms of actors, like a truly professional actor, even if they know they're in a shitty movie, like they still give 100% on their performance. It's like, well, that's pretty awesome. That's professional right there. Rather than just phoning it in.
And I guess keeping it cool under immense stress and keeping everything together, sort of thing. That can be incredibly impressive. Professional.
T1S says, "Hey Mauler, any chance of an EFAP or something of that nature for Sicario 2? I love the original, but thought that the sequel was steaming hot garbage."
I agree, though I doubt we'll get. It's not quite the format for it. I don't know what coverage there would ever be of Sicario 2. I remember seeing that in cinema. I was so upset. They ruined everything. How could they do it? First one's so fucking good.
Do you think it was a movie that really needed a sequel? I felt like it wrapped itself up pretty well.
It made its point so clearly. But I don't know, man. That's Hollywood, I guess. Make another one.
Yeah, more. Junha Shkao says, "There was a Black Mirror episode where Salma Hayek's likeness was used to create an AI-generated TV show about an exec's daily life. It was weird, but good."
Okay.
Cool. Yeah. Feeling Dangerous says, "Chris is right about younger union members. Our steel union did its contract this year. The younger members' demands were so much more than us more experienced members." Oh, that's interesting. This is just entitlement or what? Or just an experience? Mackenzie, "Wonder if the lack of good movies could actually be good. Whenever one comes out, it's that much better, especially because there are more products now." I mean, potentially, yeah. They get more attention if they're good. Scruffy Pumpkin, "Another oddball recommendation, No Man of God. Elijah Wood is an FBI analyst and has a friendship with Ted Bundy during his imprisonment." Okay. T1S says, if you guys had the rights to make a live-action Dead Space film with full creative control and money was no object, who would you cast? Who would you pick to direct, produce, etc., and how long do you think it would be? I think you could make Dead Space into a movie, really. I don't think you need a
Absolutely
TV
good,
show.
and probably aim between 1.5, 2 hours. Probably try and keep it to classic like horror length. Casting, I mean, that could be tough. We'd have to look around at exactly who would work for Isaac Clarke, but I probably want to try and get Henry Cavill in there in some way. Every time we get a movie, okay, we got to try and get him in.
Yeah, just cast him for every role.
It shouldn't be too difficult because once you nail that part, the real hard bit is going to be the atmosphere and special effects. That's going to be the thing you need to get right.
See, prime Ridley Scott could have directed a really good Dead Space. Maybe not so much now because he's old and crazy, but yeah, back in his prime, he could have done something amazing with that. Michael Martin says, which was better era for spy movies? Movies that came out during the Cold War or movies that came out post-Cold War? During the Cold War, 100%. I think when the ones that you get now that are like revisionist takes on the Cold War and stuff, they're never as good. I don't know if it's just like the people making them probably weren't in it or they weren't alive during the Cold War or whatever, or they don't remember it well. But yeah, the ones that came out during were way better. Jay Salty Taint says, my husky said that the critical doggo makes brilliant points. I mean, he does. Yeah,
that's true.
I'm looking at him now. Actually, I don't have the dog cam set up, but he's upside down. Looks pretty pleased with himself. So yeah, he made all his points the other night, I think. Jacko says, why don't you all start writing movie scripts and sell them to Netflix now that there's a strike on? I mean, I'm working on my own films, so like I'm doing my part, I guess. It's like I can only do one at a time. Ghost in the Craig says, cheers everyone, and hello to the woke critic. Thank you, and it was nice to have him on. Mary Nicholson says, hey Drinker, have you seen Boondock Saints yet? Yes, I have. I know you said it was on your list, but have you gotten around to it? Yeah, I've seen it. An interesting movie. It's interesting structure with like showing the aftermath of the shit that they do, and then like you get the flashbacks to it actually going on, and it's just this insane stuff. But yeah, quite fun. Justin Pulaski says, Star Trek question. If modern Trek show leadership issues were cleaned up, do you think a classic Monster of the Week style Trek show would succeed? I mean, you'd have to do more than just deal with the leadership issues. It would have to be the whole atmosphere of the shows, the whole ethos behind them. I'd like to see episodic Star Trek come back. I don't know if Strange New Worlds does that or not. Honestly, I'm not invested enough to give a fuck. I just see these occasional clips on Twitter of like Spock eating bacon and, absolutely creaming his pants over it, and I'm like, this isn't Star Trek. How did it come to this? So yeah, I would like to see episodic Star Trek again. I just don't think they can do it now. The Munkin says, been watching the Mission Impossible movies with friends. Why is Mission Impossible 2 known as the bad one? We found Mission Impossible 3 far worse, especially with all the J.J. Abrams tropes shoved in. I think
is really fucking slow. There's loads of slow-mo shots, people walking, people looking at things. Like
it's a John Woo movie.
Yeah, it's
dialed to the max.
But this is like the general perception is that. But then I watched it recently. It's not very well written. Like it's the story itself is very bizarre. The villain's shit. Dougray Scott plays a man who. Do you remember like one of the scene where he cuts off his henchman's pinky finger to an extent? Like, do you remember why that happens?
He insulted Naya or something, or he implied that like Dougray Scott had more of a hard on for her, and he was losing his focus on the mission or something.
She broke up with him X amount of time ago. They do their big event, stealing like the thing that could destroy the world, sort of thing. And then a week later, she turns up, and so the henchman's like, "Don't you think that's a bit coincidental, and that we should be worried that she could be here to get some information?"
Which is exactly what she's doing.
Yeah, he was exactly right. And later in the film, he's just like, "Oh, you were right." But like in that scene, he's about to cut off his finger, and he's implied like that you must really just want to fuck something, I guess. And then he says, "Maybe I do." like that's what that scene is. And then there's those weird fucking lines about women in the film. I think I brought them up with I don't know if it was on the stream or not, but I know Gary mentioned it, that there's a line about how women are monkeys and they They'll
Oh,
swing
they
from
won't.
branch to branch.
They won't let go of one branch until they got a hold of the next one.
Anthony Hopkins saying that if a woman is naturally trained to lie, like
Yeah, because it's like she's because they need her to seduce Dougray Scott, and it's like, oh, I don't know if she can handle that, and it's like, what, to sleep with a man and then lie to him afterwards? It's like, she's a woman, she has all the training she needs, and Anthony Hopkins just delivers it totally straight as well.
yep, doesn't have any problem with that. It's fun, but and then the action is like fun and stuff. But like, good God, the amount of movie you have to go through to get to some of the what I consider fun action, it's a bit painful. Though the thing is, I'll at least agree with the comment that Mission Impossible 3 gets a lot of passes somehow. If you rewatch that, the J.J. Abrams-isms are on full pelt. It's actually hard to ignore.
I honestly would have to rewatch it. I don't think I've seen it in about 10 years at least.
And as soon as you realize how little Philip Seymour Hoffman is in there, and by the way, do you remember what happens to him in that film?
No, I actually don't remember.
He gets into a fist fight with Tom Cruise. They like go over outside. He's on the floor, and then a car hits him, and that's it. It's like,
Is that it?
Very, because he's not the main villain. He's like a henchman, sort of, and it's just like, you guys didn't realize what you had, apparently.
Because Mission Impossible 3, that's the one where they've got like bombs in their brains that can blow up and kill them, and it's like at the end he's about to have his head explode. Yeah, I remember it. Okay. What's the next one? Gail Mipson says, sorry, but this movie was dragging, getting bored out just like JW2. Indiana movies when pitch meeting is more on point and edgy than red letter media.
Yeah, I agree with that. But are they talking about Dead Reckoning being long?
I think, yeah, getting, because his punctuation is kind of all over the place. Getting bored out just like JW2. I mean, John Wick 2, is that what he's going for?
Jurassic World 2?
Who knows?
No, probably John Wick 2.
Yeah, I think so, yeah. It was more like John Wick sort of style. Yeah, okay. Nostradamus says, Marcus Carter's big brother said he'd fingered her up the duck pond. Okay.
Buzz.
OMG Puppies says, speaking of AI characters, it would be great to see an adaptation of Neuromancer by William Gibson. Person of Interest quotes some scenes from the book. Fair dues. CD says, the big mistake of Mission Impossible Fallout, killing off Henry Cavill's character. He should have been a recurring villain, especially for this movie. Damn, it's just like you said.
To be fair, you can just bring him back. I think we would all forgive it. And then people would be like, how come it's okay with him but not with Palpatine? We'd be like... we can take a while to explain that one, but
somehow Henry Cavill returned.
I would have been fine if Gabriel or whatever, he had a boss fight with him in the midway point in the film, and a bit of his mask got fucked up, and it's like, wait a minute, he takes it off, and it's Henry Cavill. I'd be like, yes.
Just if we can see him pumping the guns again, you know.
Oh yeah,
that's what we all want to see.
That's what I mean. I don't know, like they struck a fucking home run with him in Fallout. It's like, bring him back. Everyone wants him back. Bring him back.
Yeah, and his tash.
Yeah.
I'll never be able to look at that now and not think about his lips in Justice League. Even to this day, if I see a picture of like Superman with his fucked up face, it just still makes me laugh.
Yep.
I don't know why. Timmy04 says, do you think a piece of media that was well received but hardly anyone knows about makes it underrated? How do you guys define underrated?
Yeah, I mean, the two ways you'd think. So it's not been seen by many people at all, but also isn't thought of very highly by many people.
Yeah, I think that's the two best ways to do it, I suppose. Campbell Patterson says, hey, Drinker, Mauler, and panel, what Thomas character do you think you're most like? Diesel. Because I'm evil as fuck.
What? I don't fucking... I'm not familiar enough with the Thomas the Tank Engine characters, though I did see Bullet Train, so...
Yeah, exactly. That tells you all you need to know. Are you a Thomas? Are you like a Percy or a Diesel? Or a Gordon, I think was mentioned as well?
I don't... I'll let Drinker decide what I am.
Alright, I could see you as a Gordon.
There you go, I'm a Gordon.
It's the big superior train, you know.
Oh...
Cody Griffin says, Drinker, with you having a chat with Russell Brand, you amazing cheeky drunkard, congratulations. Thank you very much. And yeah, it was good fun. Cactus says, "Did any of you watch Evil Dead Rise? That's got to be the best horror movie of the year, in my opinion. Also, how can you not love The Crow, Chris?" We don't know about Chris's response there, but yeah, have we seen Evil Dead Rise yet? Have you seen it?
I've not seen it, but I've heard good things. And it's not cringe.
Yeah, well, that's a good start. Intelligent Crayon Eater says, any thoughts on Joaquin Phoenix playing Napoleon for Ridley Scott's movie? He seems to be a bit old in the trailer, considering it takes place when Napoleon was in his late 20s and 30s. Yeah, he does look a bit grizzled. I don't know how much of a period. Is it going to cover his whole life, like all the way up to Waterloo and stuff? In which case he's going to have to be about 45 by the end, which is about what Joaquin Phoenix is. But yeah, overall it looks good. You know, the cinematography wise and stuff, it looks pretty good. Yeah, I'd be interested to watch that one. I think I'm a bit of a fan of Napoleonic movies, so I'd watch it.
Oh, see.
100 Battles says, "Is Smokey a static image, or is he really that sleepy?" He really is that sleepy. That's what greyhounds do. Particularly because they stream in the evening, so like once they've had their dinner, they tend to just switch off. Like that's them for the next like 10 hours. So yeah, they're a bit more lively during the day. Bird Up says, "Do you guys think Oppenheimer will bomb in Japan?" Fuck. It's too soon. I like the meme of that actually, where it's like Barbie and Oppenheimer. It's just like on one side, Barbie's like, "I was first released in Japan." It's just a picture of Oppenheimer.
I saw a thing about they made like a Barbie house in aid of promoting the movie. And then I saw a thing saying Oppenheimer has a rare opportunity here for promotion.
TGV Monster says, "Love your stuff, Drinker. Love the other guys too. Thank you, my friend." My Mist Eidolon says, "Trace share every time I hear your voice. 1.21 gigawatts rings back in my heart. Thank you, Great Scott." Okay, cool. Fair enough. Caleb Knight says, "Dear Drinker, on the hype of Barbie, consider memes magic with kind of smart marketing stance and the long brand draw of people that don't absolutely hate." Sure, I mean, I guess. Still got no clue what this movie's going to do or how successful it'll be, but yeah, it's going to be interesting. OMG Puppy says, "Ruth Handler had the interesting business insight that girls wanted to roleplay being grown up and not just roleplay caring for a baby." Well, that's true. Kind of like boys, I suppose. They don't really want to pretend to be little boys. They want to pretend to be like Luke Skywalker or whatever and saving the galaxy. Japanese Demon Lord says, "Fun fact, the FBI got community noted on Twitter a little while ago. Not even the feds can lie on Twitter anymore." Cool. Fact checked. Shaker Silver says, "Given your thoughts on Mission Impossible, Drinker, I'm curious why your review title calls it excellent when it seems like more of a mixed bag." I mean, I think like this is one of those situations where Mahler gradually like turns me against the film, like, evil, insidious man that he is. It's like I went into that live stream like, yeah, I fucking loved it. I'm pumped. That was a good film. And then the more I talk to Mahler, I'm like, oh yeah, that is a problem. Yeah, that's kind of dumb. That doesn't make sense. And it's like, oh, this is actually not that good. But yeah, I stood by my overall rating that I gave at the end, where it's like, okay, if we say take Fallout as being the best in the franchise, if that's like a 10, then I put this at like a 7. I think that's probably where I stand on it. And I'm going to stick with that. So, and you can think what you want, Mahler, but that's my take.
We've always known I'm much meaner than you.
Yeah.
Critical Drinker.
Yeah. I have to change my name now. Forgiving Drinker. Jade Dragon Lover says, "Drinker, your drunken rant got millions of views because you tapped into the rage that the rest of us felt. That honest rant made the silent majority feel part of a group that was finally heard. Cheers to the panel. Love you all." Thank you. I don't know which particular rant it was, but I appreciate it.
All of them.
Yeah. The collective ranting of the Drinker. Goob says, "Speaking of Tarantino, how about an extra shot or recommends for Jackie Brown, Tarantino's secret best movie?" Yeah, Jackie Brown's the one that always gets overlooked, I think. I never feel compelled to rewatch it. Yeah. Ant-Man, Christopher Nolan is so real for putting the guy who played Roderick in Diary of a Wimpy Kid in Oppenheimer. Okay. Istari Azul says, "The LA fitness gym I go to has a gigantic stock image of Anthony Mackie in basketball court. I'm almost sure it's him. Another MCU stock model success." I hope that's true. How many of these actors started off as stock art models? Waylon Pacificus says, my dog offed a rabbit today. I am so proud. Nice.
All right.
Smokey killed a chicken when I was away on holiday the other week. They got into the garden and he was like a chicken seeking missile. He just took it out, and it was like the beach scene from Saving Private Ryan. There was just bits of it all over the garden. So I had to get a plastic bag and put all the bits in it, and then put it in the bin. So it was messy business. Not proud of that, but he had fun. I had to hose him down as well afterwards. It was like trying to clear up a murder scene.
Helping him hide the body.
It was like, don't tell anyone about this. Just like holding him by the collar while I hose right in his face. Gotta get the blood stains off.
Remember the Tropic Thunder where he's like, I killed one? He says, oh god, you killed a hooker. Okay. We'll be able to... He's got
a contingency plan. Yes, like, you're gonna need at least like three bottles of lye or something. Or like, yeah. Jesus.
Then he says, no, a panda. And he goes, Amanda? That's probably not even a real name.
MZ Wizard says Godzilla vs. Kong has, in my opinion, the best monster fight scenes of the series. The story is quite stupid. Read very stupid. Best to turn off the brain and wait for the fights. I mean, yes.
Well, that point, you watch the movie, just watch YouTube clips.
Yeah, pretty much.
Which I haven't done, because I'm going to save it for the movie, because I can't wait to expose myself to such incredible writing. I keep hearing it's very good.
I just remember how disappointed I was in the first Godzilla of like the modern era. You know how like every time you think you're gonna see it, like the camera cuts away or whatever, and it's like, oh come on, just let us see him.
I think that I can like respect the idea, but maybe they went a bit too long with that. They were like, don't want to show it. Also, the bad guy was super like, what was it even? Those they were like really big. They ate like nukes or something. I can't remember. I'd have to rewatch it.
Yeah, I'm gonna run you through the thought process on this movie. Right, they have been in hibernation since the time of the dinosaurs, and apparently radiation levels were a lot higher during the dinosaur era because I guess they all nuked each other or something. And so when that died down, they went into hibernation for like millions of years because you can just hibernate for millions of years, like, and you don't fossilize or anything.
I can do that.
Came back, and that's why they feed on literal nukes because it gives them energy. It's like eating.
Well, you know what? The main 100% valid criticism of that movie is that they shouldn't have killed Bryan Cranston. He should have been in the whole thing.
Everyone liked Bryan Cranston.
Yeah, he can act. That's why.
I just think it's weird. It's like a fucking power plant falls on him or something, but he survives it, and then he gets taken into a helicopter, and then he just dies anyway.
Yeah, that was.
What was the point in that? Mobile Recluse says, Mauler, will we see an EFAP for The Descent for Halloween?
You know, who could possibly say? I like how they're like, will this thing happen? Maybe this thing, maybe this thing. I don't know. You know, I don't know. No confirmation on that one.
I'm saying nothing. Noah Sprague Studios says, for anyone who's wanting a good Witcher show, I'd recommend the anime Claymore. It's almost exactly like The Witcher, except the main character is a woman. Basically, it's the Witcher show that the writers wish they could make. Okay, Claymore. Thinking Man's counterpart. I'd like to try to convince you gentlemen to check out a small film called Mortal. Go in blind though, because it goes off in an unexpected direction, which I won't spoil. Good stuff though, I promise. Alright, cool. Mortal. Andrew Pitko says Bob Iger is a bippity boppity bitch with his excuses. Yeah, it's the audience's fault. Shaker Silver, for a good modern director, Denis Villeneuve. He's pretty good. It's weird. I watched Prisoners just recently, and watching that, I was struck by, wow, I don't think Villeneuve was the director for that movie.
Oh shit, that's a controversial opinion, Drinker. You be careful.
It's a really good movie, and the performances are fantastic. But I think Villeneuve his style doesn't quite match with that film, because fuck me, it's slow, and it doesn't necessarily need to be for what it actually is.
I think he's kind of a slow burn director, because I'd even say that some people can find Sicario slow, and I'm like, okay, that's fine.
Yeah, I mean, he is a slow burn director. He loves his long tracking shots and stuff, and you know, establishing scenes, and that's fine for certain movies. I just think for this, it was unnecessary. And yeah, I would have liked to maybe see someone who can move things along a bit better. But overall, I still enjoyed the film. I thought it was great. It was just more on the strength of the script and the performances. Jammy Jam Jars says, have you guys seen the trailer for Ridley Scott's Napoleon? As someone who's a huge history fan, I pray this is up there with Gladiator. Yeah, likewise. I was just talking about it there. Yeah, hoping to see some awesome Napoleonic battles. Absolute Amoeba says, Drinker, have you ever watched The Outlaw Jose Wales? Very good Clint Eastwood Western. Yes, it is. And yeah, you were right on that one. It is very good. Zach Toll says, Kevin Key from Skinny Puppy is doing the soundtrack for the new Silent Hill game. Get hyped. Nice. Okay. Party Am CV, Master of Disguise. Ugh. Hugo Ventura says, dinner with Haley Atwell. And yes, Platoon, Mexican dollars. Okay, that was for 50 Mexican dollars, so thank you. But yeah, I'll take dinner with Haley Atwell.
Yeah, we can make that sacrifice.
Worse ways to spend the evening. Carnal says, Chris is right, Sound of Freedom will be left out for award season, whereas the Disney remake of The Color Purple will be nominated out the ass to atone for the original not winning a single Oscar. Yep. Have you seen the pictures, by the way, of... This is totally a tangent, but have you seen the pictures for Snow White? Wow.
Good fucking God, they're in so much trouble if they release... Because, considering everything that happened with The Little Mermaid, they're pissing everybody off now, big time.
Yep. I'm going to do a video.
That after this, they've surely got to stop, right? They can't keep doing this.
Yeah, I mean, you've essentially got a race swapped Snow White, which her having white skin is one of the defining qualities which gives her name. But anyway, move beyond that. You've got dwarves that aren't dwarves because Peter Dinklage got angry about it. You've got the story about a search for true love, which is no longer about a search for true love because that's too misogynistic. And it's got to be about her just wanting to do what she wants. And to cap it all off, it looks like it was done on a budget of about $50. And they just went to the local fancy dress shop and just picked whatever they could find. And this is for what, a $200 million movie. It's pretty much every bad thing about modern Disney films condensed into one movie. It's gonna bomb harder than up.
When are we expecting it? Is it next year?
Probably next year at this point, yeah, because this is kind of in post-production now. Let's see. Yeah, 2024.
Weird era for films.
Yeah, this is it. This is creative bedrock we're at now. Shaker Silver says, on static characters, they needn't be cool but compelling and active characters, driving the plot and changing the world around them while being static. Sure, I mean, I guess it just depends what they are. You probably wouldn't want that for the protagonist, they're static, but, for other characters, sure, you can do it. D says, SAG-AFTRA just went on strike. All productions shut down. Yep. Who knows for how long? And Dan, final one, says, what's your thoughts on the extras heroes announced for Superman Legacy? It feels like a mixed bag, and I don't want James Gunn to go full-on gun. I don't care at this point. I don't care what he does.
Yeah, I'm going to give him a shot with whatever he ends up with, and that'll be that. Chelsea. Yeah. He's more than aware of a lot of the stuff that you find being concerned about. I know that he knows that he believes he needs to show the Superman and Clark Kent sides of his life, and that he's a happy, inspirational character. I don't think we're going to be getting a Snyder mistake again. But
no.
This is James Gunn. Who knows what we're getting exactly? Have we ever seen him do something like this before? I don't think so.
No, he's in his element doing a team of misfits, learning to work together, which is great. But you can't have every movie be that. So Superman, he kind of has to stand by himself.
He has more than one element.
Sure, it's always a possibility. I'm open to it. But that was the last of them. That was the last of the super chats. So
oh well.
Thank you, you lovely people, for your generosity. Yeah. Thank you for sending us all this stuff, and we'll catch you on the next open bar. But for now, that's all we got. So go away now.
Bye.